Stupid people should wear signs, neon bright, so we can find a way to dodge their tangled mess, avoid their chaos more, say less. Wear a sign, wear a sign, save me from your twisted line. Wear a sign, nada, nada, don't waste your time. Politicians dance and spin, blatant lies with a practiced grin. Blame the moon, blame the stars, blame the traffic or faulty cars. You think they're 6, not 35, playing games to stay alive. Wear a sign, wear a sign, save me from your twisted line. Wear a sign, nada, nada, don't waste your time. Celebrities with tails so tall, lost my yacht, it's so small. It's hard being rich, don't you see? You're living in your fantasy.
Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Good morning, folks. Welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports. It is Friday, November 7th, 2027. A quick sound check here. November 7th, 2027. A quick sound. Good. Okay, excellent. Welcome back to the program. Hey, I hope you're doing well wherever you find yourself around the planet today. Oh boy, we're headed into winter time. It's still fall, but we're on the cusp of winter here in North America. Of course, our friends on the other side of the hemisphere, in the southern hemisphere, are enjoying spring and headed into summertime. In South Africa and Australia, New Zealand, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Argentina, Chile, places like that. So welcome back to the program. Friday, bit of a news for you all, but let me take a look at who's in the chat here. Sorry, my eyes are bothering me today a little bit there. And I sound like I'm sick, but I'm not. That's kind of weird. Ronaldo Jose is here. Hey, Ronaldo, what's going on? YouTubers arriving late for their stream. Yes, we all take our cue from you, Ronaldo. Late to the stream. All right. Emergency Quinn, AJ Quinn. I just noticed that. never dawned on me before. 2 Quins. Quinn squared. Andre Mostart, Leslie Wilson. Ants is back. Good to see Ants. Ants is an OG. Ronel Chasigi. Wolf. Johan Peach. Stephen Kravenstein. Dylan Combrack, an OG. Mavis. Whole lot of good folks here. So good evening. I hope you're all having a nice start to your weekend. It's been a long slog for me. This is the first time now that I can sit back and go, since June. At least for the moment. But, you know, it never stops. I thought yesterday I had time to myself, but I wound up working until 2 o'clock in the morning yesterday. It's not really what the intent was, but that's what happened. Daily laughter. Carl Ertz, look out the window. There's a monkey with a drop bowl, tobacco pipe in his paw and stem. What the heck? Mimicking humans. Stole it from your neighbor. Sandra's waiting to fly out. Okay, and then hello, Ronaldo. Anti-Floy, thank you for your membership. Sorry I missed it as we came on here. It came up before I got here, so. All right, I was busy irritating Ronaldo. Yvonne Nordkia, what's going on? Sedgefield's back. What else we got in here? All right, folks. Did you see the Wide Awake podcast interview with Hunter Biden? I have no idea what the Wide Awake podcast is, and Hunter Biden, why would anybody talk to that unless you're trying to get tips on how to hang out with hookers and blow? Yeah. No, Philip, I never changed the time for the cats. You got to remember, I had cats all over the world. I had cats in the U.S., I had cats in Germany, I had cats in Tunisia, I had cats in Botswana, I had cats all over the world. So they just, thank you for the description. They just learn to deal with it. The cats, when they want to eat, they annoy you. They just show up. You don't own cats, they own you. That's the problem with cats. People don't own them, they own people. So. Yeah, the crabs aren't that far away, just 4 hours from now. So looking forward to that. All right. Okay, let me see where we're at here. We've got some news to get to, quite a bit actually, including news about the murder of Marieke de Klerk. Yep, long time ago. So, get out the body bags. Death threats coming to senior government officials because they deign to investigate the criminals. Scary stuff here, folks, but this happens every day. We see the assassinations. That's why there's a political killings task team put together, and of course it was removed by the very crooks and the gangsters in the police associated with all of these assassinations. Therefore, we will want a hit team out there trying to stop us from doing our job, will we now? Crazy stuff. Get body bags. IDAC's head, Andrea Johnson, tells members of parliament the death threats she's been getting. Chilling text message that the head of the investigating directorate against corruption received in the wake of the agency's arrest of suspended police crime intelligence boss General Dumasani Kumalo. In the wake of the explosive 6 July press conference, KZN's top cop, Lieutenant General Nanda, and thank you, Chantel, for your membership. I appreciate it. Welcome to the program. Glad you found us and became a member. Yes, they've taken a toll on Johnson's personal life, she said. In her affidavit before the committee, Johnson said she received a death threat directly on her cell phone. It read, Miss IDAC, you and your guy Shabalala, Pernul, Padiachi, and Belachun have went too far. You are going to wish you did not fuck with us. Get body bags ready. Since the arrest of Kamala and the co-accused on 26, this has impacted her life. I was shocked. Throughout my career, I've experienced whispers of threats to harm colleagues and I for being involved in different cases. This time it came to me directly on my phone. Wow. She said, to date, there have been other incidents that have affirmed the validity of these threats. More special to me, my life has changed completely, instantly. I go to work and home. I go nowhere else as I no longer feel safe to do so. I've always been very independent. Someone. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a gangster state in which people just threaten the lives of senior government officials with impunity and no consequences. How in the world have the police not done a forensic investigation into this death threat? It was on a cell phone. This is easily done. This is child's play at the National Security Agency. I can get the most junior analyst to get an answer to this question within 5 minutes. Half an hour at most. Why have the police not investigated? Why is the person who sent the death threat not currently in prison? Because the people that are supposed to do that are most likely involved in what's happening here. I fear for the lives of courageous people who stand up in South Africa against this crooked gangster state. It's unbelievable. It is a failed state. There's no doubt about it. The criminals run the country either outright as a criminal or by pretending to be a politician. It is sad. It is sad. Truly sad. Joy, how's it going? Joy would know probably better than most of us just with the corruption, the rot that's going in here. Wow. Wow. Contrary to assertions by General Mkwanazi that the IDAC arrested Lieutenant General Kamalo to hamper the work of the political killings task team, IDAC was not aware that there were political killings task team members based in Gauteng. Moreover, they only became aware that General Kamalo was a coordinator of that task team on the 6th of July, 2025. Therefore, the assertion that IDAC was arresting the coordinator of the team to disrupt its work is completely misplaced. IDAC has nothing to do with PKTT. Has not worked with PKTT and does not know what work PKTT is supposed to do other than being able to glean a general understanding from its title. Yeah, so there's some false allegations coming here from everybody's hero Mkwanazi, it seems, too. Mkwanazi is polluting the water by telling all these allegations and accusations, but also throwing in some stuff of supposition. He should just stick to the facts. Well, fear in Durban as a protest march took place on South Beach. What's this one all about? Against immigrants, more xenophobic, racist, bigots, scumbags on the streets of South Africa. Hundreds of residents led by the March and March movement walked from City Hall to South Beach demanding action against undocumented immigrants and rising crime. Foreign nationals watched anxiously from shops and flats as protesters accused them of fueling drug dealing, the hijacking of buildings, and unemployment. March and March's leader, Jacinta Nkubisi Zuma, accused some police officers of colluding with criminals and vowed to continue calling for the deportation of undocumented immigrants. I tried to help my dad do his forms on the questionnaire on the U.S. Embassy website, but he got pissed at me and trying to help him, so then he said, F the program, it's BS. Well, tell your father, enjoy his life in South Africa. If he wants to be pissy and be a child, then that's his fate. I can't have empathy for that. Sorry to hear that. Reactions Unleashed. Unbelievable. People can't be bothered to answer a few questions. Then you don't belong to be here. You can't come to my country. Stay away. Stay away. We have no desire to take in rapists, murderers, pedos, criminals. No, I'm not saying your father's any of those. I'm sure he's not any of those things. But we have a process to ensure that we don't bring those people over here. So if he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't want to do it. That's unfortunate. Reactions Unleashed, but that's just the nature of things. Some people are just that way. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. And tell your father, the program's not BS, and if he likes to tell people to F themselves, maybe you should look in the mirror. Ooh, that was harsh. No, that last part was unnecessary. No, I'm sorry to hear that. Reactions Unleashed, but that's really sad to hear. Really sad to hear. Again, I don't wish anybody to leave South Africa, but people shouldn't act like that just because they're frustrated by filling out a simple form. Yes, I know there was a problem with page 9, and yes, I know some people are complicated, but most of you are making mistakes. Most of you are blaming the computer. Most of you are screwing this up. It's not the computer. There are a few computer issues, but most of the things that have been sent my way, it's people just not paying attention to what they're doing. That is why it's so. We're so scared, Colonel. It is so frustrating for us. The country kills us. What are you so scared of? Or you don't work for IDAC and that you received a death threat. And I appreciate it. Thank you for the 79 super chat. Anyway, once again, the ugly beast of xenophobia is rearing its head in South Africa. Now, to be clear, I agree with South Africans. Criminal alien invaders have no business in your country. People who violate your sovereignty are a threat to your society. They're criminals by the mere fact that they violate your sovereignty. They have no respect for your nation and its laws. They should leave. But protest, marching, threatening, menacing people? No. It is a job for law enforcement to remove these people, not for angry citizens to do it. Not for angry citizens to do it. That is not right. Well, the Paul Mashatile bodyguards, remember that story? These scumbags, tried to get away with beating SANDF members in broad daylight on the streets, endangering public safety, forcing a car off the road, ripping soldiers out of a car, beating them senseless and unconscious, and then claiming, well, we didn't do it. And of course, Paul Mashatile was there. They lied about that. They said he wasn't part of the convoy. They lied. Eight former members of President Mashatile's VIP protection unit are set to stand trial following a magistrate's dismissal of an application to have their assault charges dismissed. They actually had the arrogance to ask for the charge. Look at these scumbags. Look at them. Look at them. Very little remorse. Starting from left, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, no remorse, sixth, no remorse, seventh. Only one guy here might have remorse. They just look arrogant. The Randburg's Magistrates Court dismissed the Section 174 discharge application brought by 8 former bodyguards of Paul Mashatile, keeping the high-profile assault case on track for trial, and it should be on trial. They'd hoped to walk away from charge of assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm and malicious damage to property. Instead, Magistrate Abdul Khan ruled there was not enough evidence to proceed. 2 of the accused will continue to face charge of negligent driving. 4 of the accused will continue to face charges concerning violation of the Firearms Control Act for allegedly pointing a firearm. The accused include Churchill Mkizi, Phineas Boshila, Harmans Arokom Kamana, Shadrach Kojana, Moses Chidaba, and Pomzo Mfukeng. You get some names people can pronounce, folks. There you go. Anyway. In May, they were exonerated by SAP's disciplinary hearing because video evidence against them could not be verified. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. There are thousands of witnesses who saw these scumbags beat people to death for no reason. Well, not beat them to death. Beat them as if they're going to kill them. What was the question here about me making a video? Would you please make a video about this whole church persecution happening that is new law but not directed at any other religion? It's not fair every time things... What new law? What are you talking about, Dave? What new law? There's no new law. I'm not. Maybe I missed the law. What law are you talking about? In what country? What law? Finally, we did fill in our forms, got our passports, and we submitted it, said complete. Huge thank you for it. All right, thanks, Charlene. Well, I appreciate you still watching my channel. Thanks for being here. A lot of people get the information they want for free and then walk away. Yeah, why are you guys talking about refugee stuff here? It's not the refugee channel. It's not a refugee session. As far as, yeah, if you're divorced, it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. Divorce. You were married. You have a contract. We have to have proof the contract is ended. Done and dusted. Finishing Clark. Didn't have any problems filling the forms. Yeah, on your phone you did it, nonetheless. Not even on a computer. And Willem... Hayden, thank you for becoming a member. Will they allow me to let my dog fly with me to the U.S.? No, Ronaldo. They'll let the dogs come, but you have to stay. Thank you. Oh, thank you for the 14 rand. Yeah. Yes. Chris says he's not a refugee. He's dead. Well, that's pretty crazy stuff. That's scary, Chris. I'm hearing something from the afterlife. Well, Gigaba was arrested, but he wasn't arrested. He denies wrongdoing as a court appearance looms over his Transnet corruption case. Former Public Enterprise Minister Malusi Gigaba said the National Prosecuting Authority informed him that he was required to attend court. Last night it was announced that he was going to be arrested. Well, the government and the press are backtracking. We can't have a fat cat bigwig from the ANC arrested, can we? Wow. ANC MP and former Public Enterprise Minister Malusi Gigaba has not been placed under arrest. He earlier took to Twitter to say that he was handing himself over to police and was due to appear in court after receiving a summons on charges related to a probe into alleged Transnet corruption. He's engaging IDAC. Well, if he's engaging IDAC, something must be wrong. We shall see. Folks, the morally compromised system of justice in South Africa has further proof yet again. Just like the story of Karen Berger, however you want to pronounce it in Afrikaans. The word is German, and it's Karen Berger. But after Karen Berger lied to Rapport and claimed that she had nothing to do with the memo that she drafted and falsely, immorally, unethically, and illegally used her title to influence people to sign the 44 Farias memorandum, Ms. Karen Berger couldn't make the distinction between ethics. Well, here's another case of ethics. We have a judge overseeing a case and making a judgment for a former client. Wow. Limpopo judge president sanctioned for presiding over ex-client's cases. Limpopo High Court Judge President George Patuti violated judicial conduct rules by presiding over land disputes involving his former client in 2017 and 2021. He represented the same client as an attorney in 2013 in magistrate's court regarding the same property. You believe this? This is not justice. These are scumbag criminals. How can you not recuse yourself when you defended the client for the same freaking property? You can't even claim you don't remember him. You defended his... Oh my goodness. This is insanity. 300 illiterate government officials signing budgets that they can't read in KZN alone. The police so wildly corrupt, it's unbelievable. We don't know what to believe anymore. Everything is on the table. And judges who are defense attorneys or are attorneys for a client and then become a judge and then they oversee their cases. These people are sick. Sick. This is not a country. This is not even a racketeering operation. This is a disaster. It's a complete disaster. An absolute disaster. Oh, the South African government. Where's that at? I haven't seen that anywhere. Where are you guys finding that at? Thank you, Brett. Journal colonialism in Africa is brutal at times, but it left a legacy of infrastructure, schools, and healthcare that lasted for a long time in the former colonial states, in particular in Southwest Africa and in Tanganyika, not so much in Cameroon or Togo, where it didn't have a good chance to get established. Richard, I'm so sorry to hear about your mother's loss. So sorry. Thoughts and prayers with your family. Unbelievable. Reactions Unleashed, I hope you're still here. I really feel bad. Maybe your father will calm down and do it again. Another 50-year-old company is going to go out of business. One of South Africa's major mining and ferrochrome companies, Samancor Chrome, warned that it may have to consider significant operational changes, including the possible closure of its remaining furnaces. Issued notice to employees explaining that ongoing discussions with the government have not resulted in any concrete support, and its cost pressures are no longer sustainable. Yet the Chinese are building smelters in South Africa. Do they get preferential rates from Eskom? I don't know. So you have a government-run electricity provider that can't provide electricity, and it destroys business. It's not just you that die by candlelight. It's the businesses, as I've said. This is the crushing impact of Eskom and government incompetence. Bossa's Agrizi gets a 40-year sentence, wholly suspended for 5 years. Don't we know Angelo? Hasn't he been in our program several times? Former Bossa's COO, Angelo Agrizi, was sentenced to 40 years imprisonment for fraud and corruption, suspended for 5 years by the Pretoria High Court. Passed after he entered into a plea and sentence agreement with the IDAC. He pled guilty to 3 counts of corruption and 1 count of money laundering. He was initially charged with former Correctional Services Commissioner Lindy Mti and former CFO Patrick Hilliam, former Bosasa CFO Andres van Tonder. Charged are in connection with 4 tenders awarded by the department to Bosasa and its subsidiaries, valued at more than $1.8 billion between August 2004 and 2007. He's not attended court since he took ill in October of 2020. Sentence to suspend on various conditions, including that Greasy cooperates with IDAC and provide investigators to sign the investigation on the matter of affidavits detailing the full extent of his knowledge of all matters investigated. Well, that's an interesting story. How are we going to feed our families? Ask informal traders as the police crack down on informal traders, but they don't go after criminals. Well, informal traders are criminals, but they're not violent criminals. Johannesburg informal trader Agrippa Buthelezi from Matalabani in KwaZulu-Natal needs to raise money for his daughter to travel home after completing her exams at the Cape Peninsula University. Over the past few weeks, he's been struggling to make ends meet since he was prevented from selling his goods on Klein and Plein Street in the Johannesburg Central Business District. The father of 11, the father of 11. Maybe that's the problem, buddy. Maybe you stuck your wick someplace it should have been far too many times. The father of 11. The father of 11. Wow. I've never worked anywhere in my life, but only sold on the street, and I was able to provide for my family. The past few weeks have been hard. Municipal officials have long been harassing them. Yep. So informal traders are unhappy. Well, informal traders are a big part of the economy in much of Africa, less so in South Africa, but they are a significant part. Started to watch the National Constitution Center videos on the Signers' Declaration, look differently at our Constitution, our democracy now. How do you look at it differently, Deanie? How are you looking at it differently? Thank you, Elmarie. Is Reactions Unlimited still here? A South African billionaire's heir has an urgent message. Jonathan Oppenheimer, the scion of the family that built Anglo-American and De Beers into a global mining powerhouse, has urged South African government to get out of the way of entrepreneurs. While small and medium-sized companies make up 91% of formal business in South Africa and account for more than a third of gross domestic product, weak economic growth and high running costs and compliance costs threaten their survival. More than half the country's small businesses risk shutting down within a year under current cost inflation conditions without outside help. Well, the real issue here is the government getting in the way, and I agree with young Oppenheimer. He's correct. He is correct. It is all about people getting in the way. All right, so here's an op-ed I need to discuss before we move on to another topic, and this is in the Daily Maverick, and it is listed as analysis, so they do put it in the correct place, and it's by Mandla Radebe, and Mandla Radebe needs to get his head out of his backside. The DA's plan to scrap BE ignores apartheid legacy that still disadvantages black majority. No, the apartheid legacy does not disadvantage the black majority. The ANC disadvantages black majority. The ANC promotes a small coterie of elites who get to have their way while others suffer. The DA's proposed Economic Inclusion for All bill, which seeks to repeal or radically overhaul the broad-based Black Economic Empowerment Act, has set tongues wagging across and beyond South Africa. Race-based quotas, argues the DA, have failed to achieve genuine broad-based upliftment, but have reached only a narrow, politically connected black elite while leaving millions of South Africans unemployed and impoverished. According to the DA, transformation should shift from corporate race compliance frameworks such as black ownership points and management control criteria, moving towards non-racial, needs-based approach focused on skills, job creation. Yeah, and that's where I disagree with the DA. No, it shouldn't be needs-based. It should be the best, the best, the best. You shouldn't get a job because you're poor. You shouldn't get the contract because you're poor or white or black. You should get it because you're the best. You can deliver the best service in the shortest amount of time, highest quality, at the lowest price. That is what it's about. Tenders for poor people, tenders for black people. These are stupid politicians in the DA and in the government. No, Lawrence, you're not hearing what I said. You are not hearing what I said. I reported on a story of people who were protesting. I didn't make bones with the protesting. I made bones with the menacing. They did it in front of foreign nationals to intentionally intimidate them. That's what I said. That is wrong. You see what is going on in South Africa, criminality, and yet you say it is wrong to protest against illegal immigrants and people supposed to do work there do not. What? Menacing people is a crime, Lawrence. Threatening people is a crime. That's what I'm talking about. You can protest all you want as long as you have a permit and you behave in a legal fashion. I don't really give a flip. But intentionally menacing people, going in front of foreign businesses, foreign nationals to menace them and threaten them, no, not unacceptable. You are not hearing what I'm saying. Okay, among those who enter debate, okay, hang on. The DA is not the only party advocating what essentially amounts to maintaining the status quo in a country where a majority of black people are excluded. No. See, this guy is dumb as a box of rocks. The DA is not the only party advocating what essentially amounts to maintaining the status quo when a majority of African people remain excluded from the court. First off, African people, bullshit. Afrikaners are African people too. So stop your bullshit. You're talking about black people, not Africans, black people. Black people, Rodney. Black people, not Africans. Stop your bullshit. You race dividers in Africa, in South Africa. Afrikaners are Africans. They're of Africa. They've been there for centuries. Shut your nonsense. Shut your cake hole. All right. Maintaining status quo. Maintaining status quo. You moron, you're the one advocating for a status quo. You want to continue what doesn't work. Enriching elite, connected, patronage, black South Africans at the cost for 35 million other black South Africans. You're the one who wants to maintain the status quo. You're blaming apartheid for something it has nothing to do with. Apartheid is dead. It's over. Get that shit out of your rotten brain. It's gone. You shouldn't forget it. We should learn from it. We should recognize it. But we shouldn't use it as a daily excuse for your failures, your incompetence, your theft. Just stop stealing. If you'd stop stealing, there'd be plenty of money. Unbelievable. Another group has been calling for an end to what it terms the government's racially discriminatory. He puts in quotes, racially discriminatory. The fucking law says only black people. It says only 4% white managers. How is that not racially discriminatory? He puts it in quotes. The Daily Shitbird, the Daily Maverick, actually puts this stuff in print. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Good to see you. There's still reactions. I didn't want you to take it personal. I wasn't being personal with your dad. I'm just saying I'm frustrated like you are with your dad. Thank you for staying. I mean, seriously, racially discriminate. What the hell do you call it? A law that says you must give 3% of your profit so that black entrepreneurs can succeed at the expense of coloreds, Indians, and whites. What is that? Racially balanced? Another group that's been calling for an end to what it terms the government's racially discriminatory policies, such as affirmative action, is AfriForum. AfriForum argues that the government's preoccupation with equal outcomes rather than equal opportunities created an increasingly racialized environment. 100%. Not content with confining its campaign to domestic debates, this group took its messages overseas, touring countries such as the U.S. and lobbying on the false narrative of white genocide. I don't know what AfriForum told policymakers, but I know what AfriForum told me when I interviewed them. They never use the term white genocide. You shitbirds are using the term white genocide. Once again, the leftist, hate-wanking, scumbag South African media, and this guy's in the university, of course. He's a university professor. God forbid who goes to class and learn from this idiot. This racially bigoted bullshit that this guy's spewing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is an intelligent South African. This is an educator. Give me a break. Were you in the meetings, Mr. Radebe? I wasn't. So how do you know they spread this white genocide? The bullshit comes out of your mouths. You're the one shoveling the shit about white genocide. How many times do we have to prove this over and over again? Who's talking about it? You are. The Daily Shitbird. The Daily Shitbird is talking about it. No one else is talking about it. Well, I'm sorry. Cockprot24 is talking about it. And the Toilet Paper Record, IOL, are talking about it. And the communist-run South African Broadcasting Corporation, they're talking about it. But no one else is talking about it. This propaganda found residence in some circles in the West. For example, in 2018, during a visit to South Africa, former Prime Minister Theresa May was criticized by controversial British columnist Kate Hopkins for ignoring the alleged slaughter of whites in the country. Alleged slaughter of whites in the country. Hopkins claimed on Twitter the violent ethnic cleansing of white farmers by armed black gangs is infuriating and heartbreaking, and the world doesn't care, or at least the mainstream media doesn't care. This misinformation campaign even reached the White House, where President Trump tweeted during his first term in office that he asked the Secretary Pompeo to closely study land and farm seizures and expropriations on large-scale killing of farmers in South Africa. Yet no credible evidence supported his claims. Well, first off, Trump never did anything. So what's the point of that? That's a one tweet. One tweet, nothing came of it. And you're acting as if it's some global campaign. It's utter nonsense. No reliable data exists to suggest farmers are at greater risk of being murdered than the average South African. Really? Really? The simple number of South African farmers, the number murdered, and do the division by 100,000, and it's shocking how high the threat is to South African farmers, to farm workers on their farms. No credible evidence? You're just a fraud. You're a fraud, buddy. Total bullshit. You're making shit up. We don't even need to look at the fake police statistics. We've caught the police red-handed lying about farm murders. I have the report. We've got the media reports. I have the police report where they lied and said a man murdered on a farm was not a farm murder. It was a house robbery. No other crimes listed. No trespassing, no breaking and entering, no assault with a deadly weapon, no attempted murder, no murder charges, no torture charges, no theft, just a house robbery. And blamed it on foreigners when all of the assailants were local Tswana-based speaking scumbags near Brits. No credible evidence. Well, this guy has no credible. The fact that the Daily Shitbird actually runs this story proves that this is a leftist, hate-wanking, scumbag outfit, not a genuine media outlet. The Daily Maverick has gone so far. Years ago, it was a reliable publication that reported the news. Now it's just a mouthpiece for racist bigotry and hatred. That's what it is. That's what the Daily Shitbird is. No reliable data. The police lie. The statistics are fake. Yet the very parties at the forefront of calls to scrap B and affirmative action never lift a finger to challenge or correct this false narrative. What false narrative? What false narrative? The farmers are murdered? That's not a false narrative. That's true. You mean the white genocide? Why would they lift a finger to lift the white genocide narrative? They didn't create it. You did, Mr. Radebe. You did News 24. You did IOL. You people created this narrative. You're the ones perpetuating. You're the ones lying about Trump. Trump said he didn't believe in it. And you shitbirds still tell everybody that he's telling people about white genocide. When? Show me when Trump talked about white genocide. Show me. Give me the dates. Twice it happened in response to a question. And you lie about it every day. Every single day in your media outlets. You lie because you're frauds. You're fakes. You're scumbags. You're hateful, racist bigots. It's what you are. That's what you are. Everything you see through a lens, a prism of hating white people. You are sick. You are twisted. You are the scumbags that the racist and the National Party warned people about. They warned people about you. They warned people. They said people like you couldn't govern. And they were right. They were right. Look at your behavior. Sitting here behind your ivory tower, getting a fat government check, privileged elite lifestyle, spewing nonsense. There's no reliable stats because you ignore them. They exist. Even in the government data, they exist. Unbelievable. Yet the very parties, the fact that influential Western leaders such as Trump easily fell prey to such propaganda is indicative of how the West historically supported the very system of creating justice. Oh, spare me. Spare me. supported. You sorry little bastard. You would not be in university. You would not have a job had it not been for our actions to end apartheid. We ended the Cold War, and that's the reason apartheid ended. So shut your cake-hole. You know what you're talking about. Running your racist bigotry. You are lucky. You should kiss the ground America walks on. You should kiss our boots and stop your whining. Supported it. We didn't support it. We ended it. Stupid fool. Unsurprisingly, when Trump returned to the Oval Office for a second term, he wasted a little time in leveraging his misinformation to advance his agenda. What agenda does Trump have? What agenda does he have, Mr. Radave? What? South Africa? Are you serious? Are you serious? Who cares about South Africa other than me? Who cares? It's an economy in collapse. It's got 50 to 70% unemployment, 90% youth unemployment, GDP growth at less than 1%, population growth, foreigners invading its country on a daily basis, its mines collapsing, its rails collapsing, its roads collapsing, its entire system is rotten to the core, racist legislation. You can't even rebuild the parliament. It's been 3.5 years since it was torched because the government couldn't bother to provide defense for the damn building. The most important building of all of South Africa, and they've got guards sleeping and closed-circuit TV that aren't monitored, and a guy runs around in there for 3 days before he burns it down. Who cares about South Africa? Gold? You don't have any gold. You're 10th largest gold producer on the planet. All you've got is chrome and platinum. We can get that elsewhere. Good Lord. Give me a freaking break here. What is Trump's agenda? You think he gives a shit about South Africa? Trump's got bigger fish to fry. Ending wars around the planet. And you racist bigotry that you spew here. Your hate. This time collaborating with South African-born moguls such as Elon Musk, they use platforms like X to amplify claims of racial discrimination. No one has to amplify it. The proof is all around. The poor, starving South Africans who can't even get to a refugee interview because they have no money because they've been excluded from the job market. Not because they don't have skills, but because they're white or colored or Indian. Give me a break. Give me a break. Oh. Trump announced at X that he'll be cutting off all future funding in South Africa until a full investigation situation has been completed. Before telling journalists that South Africa's leadership is doing terrible things, horrible things. The executive order addressing egregious actions. This was in direct response to President Ramaphosa's assent to the expropriation bill. Exactly. Do you think it's moral and just for governments to steal people's property, Mr. Radabe? Where do you live? Somebody give us his address. Let's go expropriate his house and his car. You know what? Let's expropriate his job and just give it to white people. Or better yet, let's give his job only to colored people. Only colored people can have that exalted position at the university where he's at. How's that? You like expropriation now? We take stuff away from you? Yes, the U.S. suspended aid. We're not going to give money to a country that steals from its own citizens. And give this bullshit of historical disparity. The whole world is full of historical disparity. The whole world is full of history of evil things. You ever heard of Genghis Khan? 60 to 100 million people slaughtered when he was alive. You ever heard of the Bantu migration down the Rift Valley? Musk, allying with Trump, condemned the law as openly racist ownership legislation. Trump's executive order further mischaracterized the Expropriation Act, describing it as a shocking disregard for citizens' rights and alleging that it was designed to enable the government of South Africa to seize ethnic minority agricultural property without compensation. A shocking disregard for citizens' rights? Really? So your Constitution, Section 25 of your Constitution, says that you must give compensation when you expropriate property in the public interest. And your idea is you can just steal that land. That's not a shocking disregard of rights. That's a violation of your Constitution. You have a law that is incongruent with your Constitution, Mr. Radabe, and you write this racist bullshit on the Daily Shipbird? Wow. This intervention by Trump and Musk effectively advanced the agenda championed by South African political parties to resist or reverse transformative programs such as land reform by escalating international tensions and misrepresenting South Africa. No. See, the problem is we're not stupid, Radabe. Maybe you're stupid. But we know the history of land redistribution in South Africa. And if there's a failure, it's a failure on the part of the ANC. The government is sitting on millions of hectares of land they haven't redistributed. Most of the land redistributed has fallen into disuse. It's fallow. It's fallen apart. Look at the land redistribution of the golf course in the Eastern Cape. The sun. It's completely destroyed. Look at the land redistribution in KZN and formerly productive farms that were turned to productive, completely fallen apart because you hand over community property associations. Look at the lack of extension service support for aspiring farmers, the lack of grants, the lack of loans, the lack of equipment, the lack of training. You can't just throw people onto the ground and expect them to farm with no experience. The few successful, new black farmers that are out there, the majority of them have been helped by their neighbors who are white. Welcome, Peter Mueller. This manifests in the mission of Afrikaners in the U.S., the showdown at the White House between Trump and Ramaphosa, and the tariffs imposed by Trump on South Africa. Okay, see, this guy's a full of shit. This manifests in the mission of Afrikaners in the U.S. Okay, that's probably a fair statement, but it's not just Afrikaners, dipshit. It's coloreds and Indians, too. It's racial minorities. You ass-wipes need to quit lying. It's racial minorities. The showdown at the White House. Showdown? What showdown? Ramaphosa came to give a minstrel show, a song and dance. Look at this. Ooh, look at this. We're lovely. We're here. He lied to the president. Mr. President, where's this? I've never seen this before. You've seen it before. The Normandy protest, the crosses on the road, the sign at the end demanding that you change things and protect people. Where is this? And to which Trump gave the perfect answer. It's in South Africa, dumbass. Seriously? The showdown in the White House. And the tariffs imposed by Trump. This is moronic. Hey, dipshit. The tariffs are imposed not because of your racial discrimination. No. They're imposed because of your predatory practices against our goods and services. When we let your stuff in the country duty-free, you charge us 75% tariffs on poultry. You ban our pork imports. You reduce our car exports to South Africa to a ridiculously low level that makes it financially unviable. It's not even worth the time. You have unfair trade practices while being given the keys to the palace. That's why you got trade tariffs. Not because of the Afrikaners, not because of racial policies, but because you're a bunch of greedy, stingy bastards who steal and pillage and impose unfair trade limits on our goods while you are entering our country duty-free. You ungrateful ingrate, Mr. Radabe. I can't read any more of this. This is disgusting racist bullshit. Montoy Radabe is a professor at University of Johannesburg's Department of Strategic Communications. He's author of The Apartheid Did Not Die. Yes, strategic communications. He is a professor of propaganda. Strategic communication. Propaganda. That's what he is. Let me see some of the comments over here while I was enjoying that little rant. Trump doesn't need South Africa. Exactly. Thanks for caring, Colonel. So many people are at their wits' end here. SAP stations that are closed at night whilst people are being house robbed and held at gunpoint. Well, yeah, with the cops' guns. Early this morning around 2:30, there was someone on my property and unlocked my car, opened the door for my dog. So, yeah, no one is safe, even in a town like Strand. Yep. Truth, Colonel, I'm unemployed because I'm white, Afrikaner, can't get employment for a year now. What if they decide to enter my house and my grandkids sleeping? People want to stay in this country. Yeah. You're stunned here from South Africa, I want to come back. Well, that's because they're clueless. It's frustrating knowing don't give yourself a heart attack. Breathe. It's utter madness. Thank you for common sense. Well, I'll have to do a video about that now. I'm going to have to do a video about that. All right, now I got to talk about the murder of de Klerk. So if you murder a South African, you can get out of prison after 20 years. Isn't that nice? That's not life in prison. That's not even remotely life in prison. Yep, let's talk about this story. She fought. She fought for her life. Mariki de Klerk's murderer confesses on television. Luyanda Mbwanosi, who was released on parole in 2023 for murdering Mariki de Klerk, the former wife of former President F.W. de Klerk. They call him apartheid president, and they don't capitalize apartheid. Here's the problem with that, folks. Here's the problem with that. This is racist. Apartheid is a proper noun, and they lower it because they want to diminish what it was. Putting it in capital letters doesn't praise it. It simply is accurate grammatically. Apartheid is a capitalized word. It's a proper noun. So you're a fake news outlet by putting that there. Also, they call him the former apartheid president. No, he's the former president who ended apartheid and a deputy president. So let's get it right. Unbelievable. Now, he confessed to the murder and expressed remorse. The man who murdered former First Lady Marieke de Klerk 24 years ago has spoken publicly about the crime, describing it as a moment he will regret for the rest of his life. Well, I'm sure she regrets it too. Of course, she's dead. We wouldn't know. He murdered the ex-wife of former president in 2001 in her Cape Town apartment on December 3rd. During his trial, speculation swirled that the murder might have been racially motivated, a hate crime linked to South Africa's past. He was the last apartheid leader and served as deputy president of Nelson Mandela's administration. However, in an exclusive interview with ENCA's Annika Larsen, yes, Annika Larsen, that's the same reporter who asked President Trump, now that President Ramaphosa is here in the Oval Office, do you still believe there's a white genocide? To which Trump said, I'm not convinced of that. Why is Annika Larsen not out there telling everyone the truth? She asked the question. Annika Larsen from ENCA asked that question in the Oval Office. And no South African media outlet reported, including ENCA, because their question fell flat. They're dumb as a box of rocks. They thought they could trick President Trump into saying he believed in a white genocide. And they don't report the truth. They don't report the truth. She asked the question. He answered it honestly, and they can't be bothered to report the truth because it doesn't support their racist agenda. Doesn't support the racist agenda. Unbelievable. Annika Larsen. Yep, that's who it was. Asked that question. Wow. Since then, ENCA has been unable to get permission from the Department of Correctional Service to broadcast it because this guy's a lifetime parolee. He said, Mr. Klerk was so fond of me, so he murdered her. During the time I worked in Dolphin Beach, not a single day I thought of hurting her came to mind. Only that day that it happened. She never displayed hate to me. There was no bad blood. So he murdered her. Recalling the days leading up to the crime, he said his home in Kailicha was broken into, several items were stolen. After opening a case with the police, he realized there was, in his words, an easier way to recoup his losses. He'll just steal from his boss. As a security guard in the complex, he had known when de Klerk would be away, and on the day of the murder, he said he assumed she would not be home. When he found her there, he said he panicked and stabbed and strangled her. She tripped herself and she fell, and that's when I went to sit on top of her stomach, and she started to strangle her. She fought for her life. I became more physical as she was trying to fight, crying for help at the same time. When asked why he didn't abandon his plan when he realized de Klerk was home, it was an impulsive decision, out of panic. There was no reason that can justify that. I don't have a reason. I panicked. She died shortly after the attack. He claimed he was not aware that she had died, saying only that he learned this when he read the newspaper report. In my mind, it was like I choked her. I didn't kill her. When I saw her picture in the newspaper and she'd been found dead, that's when I realized I caused more harm. Seriously. Unbelievable. And after 22 years, he's out of prison. He's been out for 2 years. The man who murdered a president's wife. This is not a country. This is a joke. Well, something that's not a joke, something that's serious, is the Springboks. And Siya Kolisi will get his 100th cap tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow, Siya Kolisi, the longtime captain of the Springboks from Dispatch, will get it. Businessman and philanthropist Vincent Mai remains spellbound at how Siya Kolisi's career has panned out. Mai, from the Gray High School class of 1957, has a bursary fund in place at the school, with Kolisi being one of the recipients. Kolisi will be playing his 100th test for the Springboks on Saturday and has never forgotten the role Mai played in his life. Wait a second, Vincent Mai, he's not a white guy, is he? And he went to Gray High School back in 1957. How's that possible? Kolisi matriculated from Gray in 2009, a long way from Mai's matriculating year in 1957, but through Mai's bursary scheme, which is generally anonymous to 4 or 5 recipients, Kolisi was able to move from the difficult background of Zweden to become one of South Africa's celebrated rugby players. Yep. Oh, he's not black. What is he, Asian? Vincent Mai? Anyway. There's Siya Kolisi, the Gray College in 2009. That's a while ago. How many of those players are playing now? Siya's still there. There he is. So, Springboks, France, Stade de France tomorrow. I'll be covering that game. It's at 10 o'clock South Africa time on Rugby Ascent if you want to tune in for that, folks. Well, moving our attention to Sudan, the RSF has agreed to a truce negotiated by the U.S. Negotiated by the ANC. I mean, black Africans are being murdered. It's a genocide in Darfur. Where's the ANC? Oh, that's right. That's right. Professor Radebe is talking about the white genocide myth being spread in America and to the West, while South Africa is spreading the genocide myth of Gaza, ignoring what's happening in Sudan, ignoring what's happening in Darfur. Thank you, Linda Rasmus, 140. I appreciate that. Yeah, where is the ANC? Where is Ronnie Lamola? Where is Durko? Where is the African Union in ending the death in Sudan? Nowhere to be found. Who's there? The United States, once again. The United States, pillared, attacked, falsely maligned, called names, lied about endlessly. We end wars. We protect people. Utter nonsense, these people. The RSF paramilitary group, facing growing condemnation for atrocities in Darfur, said it has agreed to a ceasefire proposal, but it's not yet clear what the military will do. The Sudanese paramilitary group that's been battling Sudan's military for more than 2 years said Thursday that it had agreed to a truce. The group, known as the Rapid Support Forces, is accused of committing atrocities against civilians. It said in a statement that it accepted a ceasefire proposal by a group of mediators led by the United States. By the United States. Who is trying to protect black Africans? The United States. Who is lying about black Africans? The ANC. Wow. Silence and complicity. Well, that would be the African National Congress. Sudanese ambassador to South Africa is taking aim at global inaction. Yeah, well, the global inaction emanates from the preeminent power in Africa, the mighty South African ANC. Sudan's ambassador to South Africa accuses UAE of backing the RSF, claiming genocidal campaigns and media distortion and urging international action and sanctions. Sudanese ambassador Osman Abdulfima Adam Mohammed has accused the international community of turning a blind eye to civil war in his home country. Well, no. I'm sorry, Osman. I'm sorry. You are sitting in a place that's the most blind, the least vision, the darkest tunnel when it comes to Sudan, and that is in Pretoria. Ask the ANC, because the ANC runs DIRCO. There's nobody from the DA, nobody from the Freedom Front Plus, nobody from the Action SA, nobody from the Inkatha Freedom Party. It's the ANC running the foreign policy of South Africa. Ask them why they're not more vocal, why they're not involved. Why is South Africa's government not doing something to end the genocide in Sudan? They're busy prosecuting a fruitless, illegal case against Israel on behest of Tehran. Why are they silent about the death of black Africans in Darfur? Why? Please, enlighten us. Ronnie Lamola, the exalted one, cackling on a train as Cyril Ramaphosa discovers trains that move where you can eat food. I've not experienced this before. There's a lot of things apparently Cyril Ramaphosa has not experienced in his life. China's shift to clean energy is bullshit. They are using all means at their disposal, including clean energy. They're not shifting. They're still building 350 coal-fired power plants. But the Wall Street Journal, a once proud, conservative, objective news outlet, has become a leftist rag spreading propaganda. Beijing's massive manufacturing investments have driven the cost of clean energy down. That's a true statement. A decade after the Paris Climate Accord was signed, political support for it is fraying across the West. President Trump has pulled the U.S. out again, and Europe and Canada are balking at the cost and political unpopularity of climate measures. Yet the global shift to clean energy is barreling ahead, driven largely by China's emergence as clean tech superpower. China's massive manufacturing investments in the sector have sent the cost of clean energy plummeting, making it competitive with fossil fuels in many markets with few or no subsidies. No, that's actually not true. It's not even remotely competitive. That's a lie. Only schemes and scams make it. I have solar panels, but only because of a scheme created by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, who steal money from our electric bill, put it into a fund, and use that money to fund solar panels for other people. So finally, I took advantage of it and used it to reduce our dependence on coal. Yes, well, that's because they shut down our nuclear power plants just down the road, 3 Mile Island. Now they want to open it for Amazon. All the electricity will be generated for Amazon data centers, not for consumers, not for us. We're the ones who were in the path of radiation when the morons screwed up the plant in 1979. I wasn't here then. By 1979, I moved to Ohio, and the winds blew east, not west. Well, the Philippines is facing a grim situation. Typhoon. The death toll from Typhoon Kalamagi rose into triple digits, and the country is bracing for another cyclone this weekend. And you can see some of the damage in the Philippines. mud-caked homes, and mud everywhere from the flooding. Horrible stuff. Death toll from Typhoon Kalamagi rose to 188 today after the storm blew through central Philippines and caused catastrophic flooding before landing in Vietnam. Another cyclone, predicted to be just as destructive, is expected to hit over the weekend. As of noon, we have 2.4 million people directly affected. It covers 6,000 bangaris, or close to 681,000 families. Wow. Tough stuff. Bad weather. Well, there's a global backlash. Not really. This is nonsense. Global backlash as HPCSA finds UN health envoy for online criticism of Netanyahu. More than 100 South African and international organizations have condemned the HPCSA for sanctioning UN health expert Dr. Tleng Mofokeng over social media posts critical of Israel's prime minister. They found her guilty of unprofessional conduct and fined her 10,000 rand for posts it said brought the medical profession into disrepute. More than 100 South African international organizations have condemned this. The outcry follows the decision to find her guilty of unprofessional conduct and bringing the profession into dispute through what it describes as abusive, racially charged, and profane language on social media. The ruling stemmed from a complaint lodged by South African Zionist Federation after Mofokeng posted, "F you, Netanyahu, you white man, evil scum, footsec." All right, so that was racist. That was unprofessional for a medical professional. So what are you complaining about? Are you complaining because you're racist and you think that she should be allowed to say racist things? Well, footsec to you. Wow. That's just racist. She got what she deserved. 10,000 rand, though, should have been 10 million rand, being such a bigot. Canada's economy is collapsing. Play hardball with Donald Trump and watch your economy collapse. America's second largest trading partner is flirting with recession and grappling with rising unemployment. Nowhere is the toll of the trade policies more apparent than in Canada's manufacturing heartland, a 740-mile corridor that stretches from Quebec to Windsor, just across the border from Detroit. The provinces of Ontario and Quebec, home to more than 33,000 manufacturing businesses, have been reeling. Last month, Stellantis, which owns Chrysler, decided to move production of Jeep Compass cars to Illinois from Brampton, Ontario, citing a 25% tariff on automobiles made in Canada. Well, the unemployment rate in Ontario is 7.9%. And things are looking grim for Canada. All right, well, say your racist things about America, spew your garbage, and this is what happens. I feel bad for Canadians that don't believe in the garbage their leftist governments produce, but this is the consequence of it. Flight cuts have begun across the United States as the Democrats' shutdown continues. People are going hungry. Now people can't travel. Hundreds of flights, a small overall percentage, were canceled today following orders by the Trump administration as the government shutdown leaves air traffic controllers working without pay. Disruptions at major airports appear limited. I don't know, Gene. John, I asked Charles last night. Thank you for 35 rand. I asked him last night. I haven't had a chance to look for it. Jeep is owned by Stellantis, which I believe is owned by Fiat. Yes. Stellantis, a company created out of that. Well, flight cancellation plans prompt schedule scramble across the travel industry. Airlines began notifying customers potential flight change and reduction at 40 airports. And now people are trying to scramble. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said traffic at 40 major airports would be reduced as much as 10% as safety measures prompted by the shutdown. He said that while the country's air travel system is safe, the reduction is aimed at keeping it that way. Well, why do we have to reduce? Are they not showing up for work? Donald Trump announces another major deal with a rather small country, Uzbekistan, $100 billion trade deal. Yep, the president announced this one. Another Trump win. President Trump says he struck a trade deal with Uzbekistan that calls the Central Asian nation to invest in critical U.S. sectors and buy American products. The president, writing on Truth Social, said Uzbekistan's purchase investments will total $35 billion over the next 3 years and $100 billion over 10 years. Okay, that makes more sense. I thought it was one time. He said trade will focus on key American sectors, including critical minerals, aviation, auto parts, infrastructure, agriculture, energy and chemicals, information technology, and others. He thanked Uzbekistan's president for sealing the deal. There you go. It's subject to the baseline 10% tariffs imposed on all countries that didn't get a higher tariff. Well, President Trump has been ordered to make full SNAP payments, which is in violation of the law. So that puts the president in an untenable position. Government appeals for the order directing it to deliver money by Friday of federal food assistance benefits delayed the shutdown. Judge John McConnell said the administration violated the order issued last week that required the government to tap emergency funds and expeditiously pay benefits. Well, that, Judge, is because your order was unlawful. You put the president in an untenable position. Contingency funds are not allowed to be used for direct payments. Therefore, crises and disasters. This is not a crisis. This is communist bullshit from the Democratic Party. This is an intentional, created crisis. It's not covered under contingency funding. So you're directing that he violate the law. Okay, let's take a quick look at who's receiving these benefits in America. These poor white people in Appalachia who just can't get their food stamps. Let's take a look at these poor white people in Appalachia.
Tens of thousands of our participants are receiving SNAP benefits.
Without SNAP, we won't be able to eat them Saturday and Sundays.
That's their breakfast, their lunch.
All those poor white people in Appalachia starving. Look at that. Look at that. Poor white people. Yeah, terrible. The Democrats hate white people. They do, but that's another story. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth expect to overhaul an aggressive agenda and major weapons buying spree. He will unveil major changes today on how the Pentagon acquires and delivers weapons to its warfighters, with emphasis on speed that will potentially mark one of the most significant overhauls in decades in the American military-industrial ecosystem. His address to the National War College Friday afternoon, he titled The Arsenal of Freedom, comes amid a widespread recognition inside national security circles that the often years-long process for proving, funding, prototyping, and ultimately fielding weapon systems no longer works. Yep, there's broad bipartisan support for it, he says. Well, Elise Stefanik, the Republican congresswoman who was offered the position of ambassador to the United Nations, but then stepped down from that offer from President Trump in order to retain the Republican majority in the House of Representatives, is now announced her run against the evil Kathy Hochul, the Wicked Witch from Albany. Republican Congresswoman, a Trump ally, is set to challenge Democrat Kathy Hochul. Elise Stefanik, an ally of President Trump, announced Friday a run for governor in next year's election. She has $13 million in the war chest already. A video launching her campaign focused on affordability and safety in the state, blaming the current governor for high grocery bills and expensive rent. And racism. Blame her for that too. And attacks on President Trump. Blame her for that too, because that's all true. Elise Stefanik will clean up Kathy Hochul's catastrophe and restore New York's greatness, a voice over the video said. Stefanik called Hochul the worst governor in America. Well, she's certainly one of the worst, that's for darn sure. Tesla shareholders have approved a $1 trillion payday for Elon Musk. More than 75% of votes cast in support of Musk's record-setting package. Shareholders approved a record-setting pay package for Chief Executive Elon Musk, a plan designed to motivate the world's richest man with as much as $1 trillion in additional stock. Flanked by dancing humanoid robots on a stage bathed in pink and blue light at the electric vehicle maker's Austin, Texas headquarters, Musk thanked the crowd of shareholders who supported the pay package with more than 75% of the votes cast. What we're about to embark upon is not merely a new chapter in the future of Tesla, but a whole new book. I guess what I'm saying is hang on to your Tesla stock. Musk is also CEO of SpaceX and Twitter, had threatened on social media to leave Tesla if the measure had been rejected. He's already Tesla's biggest shareholder with roughly a 15% stake. The new pay package includes 12 chunks of stock, would give him control over 25% of Tesla if he hits a series of milestones and expands the company's market capitalization to $8.5 trillion over the next 10 years. Its market cap is now $1.5 trillion. So a lot of people are freaking out about this. It's unfair. It's sick how much money he's getting. It's contingent on him growing the company. He doesn't just get the money automatically. And that they fail to report. Here, the Wall Street Journal actually reports the truth. Anyway, folks, that's the news for today. I had a rant in there because Professor Radabe is spreading racist bullshit and lying about what's going on. Utter nonsense. How that even passes through an editor, how that even makes it onto the pages of the Daily Shitbird is unbelievable. The guy that's going to replace Pelosi is a state senator. He's a scumbag. Exactly, Light Rain. It's trillion over 10 years with almost impossible goals to meet. Yep, exactly. He'll never get that $1 trillion. I can't see Tesla reaching that market cap. Maybe he will. It'd be great. We love the rants. You owe us a few. All arrive for the benefits and newish big pickups. Love it. Yep. Saw one white guy. He was a volunteer serving food. You're correct, Light Rain. There was one white guy there. He was a volunteer serving food. Dali Fori, another old company out there calling. I reported that, Dali. Did you just tune in? That was one of the news stories I covered. Okay. I hadn't heard anything, so I was very pleased to fill in that new questionnaire. I got a case identifier number, so renewed hope. Exactly, Kathleen. See, that's what I mean. That's why I did the video, which almost nobody's watched according to YouTube's bullshit statistics. I did the video when I heard about it on Election Day. I took a quick break when I could get one and made that short video to tell people to go do it. And then I told people they should be encouraged by it. I mean, this is good news. I mean, I know it's a little frustrating for some people, like Reactions on Lee's dad got frustrated and gave up on it and said it's BS. He's just frustrated, Reactions. Just give it a little bit of time. Go back and talk to your dad. It's just frustrating. Sit there and do it for him. You know, I guess he wouldn't let you do that. You know, to me, I'm not picking on Reactions' dad, but I mean, to me, if your life is in such grave danger and your prosperity is hampered by racial discrimination and you're never going to be able to succeed in life because of that, because the system's racist, and you can't be bothered to put up with filling out a questionnaire and you're just going to give up, it tells me that you're not really that put out by things. Now, I'm not saying that his dad might be old and frustrated, but I mean, I've heard it from several people and I don't understand it. The information you're giving them is information you're going to give them anyway in an interview. They're just saving a lot of time. Saving a lot of time. Do you know how long it takes to get information from people whose first language is not English in a conversation, and people misunderstand? We had a situation earlier where the gentleman said, "Well, why you think people shouldn't be allowed to protest?" I didn't say that. That's not what I said. I said you can't be allowed to threaten and intimidate people, which is what they were doing. That was their intent. That was why they marched past those places. They could have held a protest in front of City Hall. They could have heard a protest. They could have marched along the beachfront, which everybody would have seen. Tourists would have seen it. That would have been effective. No, they went past the places where the informal traders and where the foreign nationals are at to intentionally intimidate them and threaten them. That's not acceptable. It's typical xenophobic bigotry. That's what I said. Charles Backabuddy. I don't even know if I have the link for that anymore. I don't think I do. Backabuddy. Backabuddy. Why does it not show me Charles's? I was asking money for a passport. Why does it not show me the one? These are not even the ones I want. Ugh. That doesn't even show up. I don't even have the link. I can't even check it. And I hate Backabuddy's search feature. It sucks. It sucks. Someone wants money for the World Cup. Oh, he's a player. That's why. Anyway, I don't have a link to Charles's. If he's here, Charles is here. He can help us with that. The idea, if we have, what's that? Okay, any idea if we have not yet have a case number, but been sent what? What the? I have no idea what you're asking, Olga. What are you asking? That's not even English. I'm sorry. Any idea if we not have yet case number, but been sent for me, how long more or less before they get back to us? Anyone else have? What is me? What is a me? I don't know what a me is. You guys keep writing me. What is me? Meals and incidentals is what me is to me. I don't know what that means. Olga, what are you asking? I'm trying to answer, but I don't understand your question. Even if today stated they're trying to phone me but unable to reach me, but did not receive any calls and realized my call barring an MTN wasn't able to disable. Well, there you go. Thank you, Yuri Ostos, and that's a very important lesson. A lot of people saying that they try to call you but they can't get through, and people say, well, that's not true. I never said a call. Well, check your phone account. Yuri had call blocking on, so yep. Can you imagine how frustrating that is? You know, you get a case in front of you. Okay, call Yuri Ostos. Ring, 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 ring. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do another case. I gotta come back. I do this again. Ring, 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 ring. You know, guys, whether you realize or not, you're part of the problem. People are trying to help you. Help them help you. Go back to email, press in the browser link, and cut and paste the verification code for each page you complete. No idea what that's about. Linda Rasmus, I didn't see that. We appreciate. Oh, did you 140 rand? I think I saw that. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Want to debate Southern rugby with you. Our best players never even play. Get scouted at school level for overseas programs. SADX driving school. What do you want to debate? I don't understand. You want to debate with me that your best players have to go overseas? I have no reason to debate that. I don't disagree with it. I wouldn't say your best players. I'd say some very good players. They have to go to Japan. They have to go to the USA. Yeah. So, but that's not a debate. You mean a conversation? Marlene, good night. Sorry to see you go. There's only... Oh, God. What 10 questions? What 10 questions are people talking about? There's 5 questions. There's 5 questions. Okay, there's the embassy. There's the site. Let's go do this. That's not what I want. I want this. Yes, accept the cookies. Here we go. All right, there it is. Questionnaire. All right, there you go. All right, so here you go. Down here. It tells you what to do. VPNs. There you go. Stuff I told you guys. Yeah. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What 10 questions? There's 5 questions. Is the applicant a South African national? Yes. Is the applicant African ethnicity or racial minority? Yes. Can the applicant claim a fear or future? Yes. Applicant currently in South Africa? Yes. Are you 18 years old? Yes. Hit submit. Boom. What's so hard about that? What's so hard about it? I don't understand. What 10 questions you guys talking about? I'm lost. What 10 questions? What questionnaire are you guys answering? Amy Beale. Yeah, that's a long time ago. So looking forward to with the debate with you as soon as... What debate, Sidex, and why are we waiting for a shutdown? Why do you need to wait for a shutdown of a debate? What are you talking about, SADX driving school? What debate? Colonel Wyatt has much better understanding of South Africa's history and current constitutional law than most local politicians. Your voice of respect. Thank you, Reinhold Steenekamp. Appreciate that. Very kind of you to say that. Frey, I have a mate that's been living in Australia for 30 years who's planning to return, but he's saved a few million rand. He said he can afford to retire. He can't afford to retire in Australia. That's crazy. Primal Boar, what's going on, man? Successful black farmers are targets of mafia that steal their seed and fertilizer. I don't know if that's true, but it could be. Loving this direct to the point, Chris on fire. Thank you, Pauline. Was thinking about it last night. I know there are many people on H2A work farms USA. Has anyone seen a non-white person go work abroad like that? I haven't. That's a good point. I haven't seen any Indians, any colors go on those work visas, but that doesn't mean they haven't. It just means I'm not aware of any. Yep, the government has hundreds of farms. They refuse to redistribute them. Most people in South are clueless about what's coming as people in New York watch this space. Yeah. House robbery and held at gunpoint for 2 hours a few days ago. Yes, Husky. Police stations closed. Yep. Largest productive citrus farm in Africa destroyed. Yep. Decolonizing, says Matthew. Frustrating knowing do not give yourself a heart attack. Okay, no, I'm not giving us a heart attack. I'm fine. Thank you for that, though. Do you know if Kenya can send you for fingerprints? Kenya can't do anything. Kenya has nothing to do with the program. Do you mean RSC, which employs Kenyan nationals? Send you for fingerprints criminal check before you give any case number? No. Why, if you don't have a case, why would you be getting fingerprints? That doesn't make any sense. The website is very user-friendly and application easy to fill. The problem is people don't take the time to read. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Janine. You are the problem. Not you, Janine, but the people are the problem. I've been sent dozens of messages from people panicking and eating so much of my time, and I've respectfully responded. And in almost every single case, they're simply not listening. They're not reading. It's like, can you give me the link? Can you give me the link? Go to the embassy website. I gave you the link. za.usembassy.gov. That's all you need to get from anybody. Then you need to pause, take a deep breath, and read. If you don't understand the words, right-click, copy the text, open a tab, Go to a browser, pull up Google, go to translate, put Afrikaans on the left side, English on the right side, paste, and see what it says in English. I mean, and vice versa. Take the English to Afrikaans. You're your own worst enemies here. Yes, there was a problem with the page, page 9. There was a problem. But you're right. The questionnaire is not that difficult, and people are making it more difficult. And I mean, honestly, I appreciate the frustration. There was legitimate frustration over page 9. I believe that's been resolved. I stand under correction if that's not the case, because I can't go any further. I'm not going to commit a fraudulent application just to find out what the survey says. I'm not going to do that. Tinky Kaiser, welcome to you. 40 Rand, enjoy the weekend. Thank you. I'll try. Depends on how the rugby goes. I'm not expecting the USA to win. It'd be nice if they did. I am expecting Namibia to win. Fingers crossed. Oh, I got to check and see if I've heard back from Jacques Borger. Yeah. Nope, haven't heard back from him. He's busy. All right, shame. Yeah, Jacques Borger was going to give me an interview. That sucks. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm hoping Namibia wins. I expect to, and I want South Africa to win. If South Africa and Namibia win tomorrow, I'll be happy. The rest of it, whatever. We'll see how it goes. Heard on Russell Brand that food packaging UK now comes with a CO2 emissions indicator. Send you WhatsApp. That's fine, Olga. Yeah, no, that's fine. Please do, Olga, because I didn't understand what you wrote there. Maybe it's typos, maybe it's English. I don't know. Yeah, please send me a WhatsApp. That's fine, Olga. Charlene Borger, it took me and my husband exactly the whole night to fill out the forms on our phones. We did together. It was fun. Thank you for the 35 Rand, Nick Groves. $1 after tax. My later. Where you been, Nick? Been wondering about you. Yeah, look, Charlene, it does tell you it would take several hours to fill it out. It does say that. So you should have documents and information at the hand before you do it. If people read the website, it tells you that. You're not going to do it in 5 minutes. And all the stuff you're filling out is information that goes in the I-590 or whatever that form is anyway. It's stuff they would ask you in an interview. Now the interviews will go much smoother, much faster. It will be much streamlined because they should have been doing this all along. Yeah, exactly. If you can't do that, how are you going to survive in the U.S.? Page 9 is fine, says Sumari. Thank you. Okay. Page 9 is fixed. I had no issues. Thank you very much, Janine. So there you go. So that's fixed. So there's no excuses now. The excuse is you need to read what it says and pay attention. If you don't understand it, then look up the word in English, in Afrikaans, or whatever language you speak. So that's the bottom line here. Its system is fixed now. That's what I figured to be fixed by now. Thank you for confirming that. Also, this is not that hard to do. This is a good thing. I don't know why people are freaking out about it. No, Quest. As many people that legitimately have a case can file it. You guys got to get what's this obsession with 7,500? How many times do I have to tell you that that's simply a number? My government repeatedly violates the number. Trump is sending a message to the world. We're not going to be the world's dumping ground. That's basically what he's saying. So we took in hundreds of thousands of people in years when they weren't even authorized to come in. And so that number doesn't mean anything as far as I'm concerned. I would not be at all surprised to see us exceed that number. And oh, by the way, already October is gone, so it's 11 months. November is a week gone. By the time this gets resolved, most of November will be gone. That means it'll be 10 months left in the year. That means an average of 700 people per month will come to the United States from South Africa. It's 23 per day. I mean, what exactly are people expecting? Do you expect us, to take the entire flight so no business people, no students, no family members, no tourists can fly back and forth on U.S. flights to South Africa? Is that what you want? Maybe you do. Maybe you do. I don't know. People need to think this through. Quit worrying about 7,500. Just fill the damn thing out if you have an interest. Just do it. There's no cap. Have they announced a cap? There's nothing on the page that says they were going to cut it off. Why would they cut it off? I mean, people need to start thinking about this. Why would they get to 7,500 on the page and say, okay, that's it. We're not taking any more. The cap that you're so paranoid over is for this fiscal year. Then there's next fiscal year. And the one after that, and the one after that, all of which president will be Trump. So calm down, folks. Calm down. Just fill it out. It's amazing to me, the shit that people make up in their heads to worry about. It just astounds me. Have I been pushed to the back of the queue? I follow the Americaners, not the new form. No, Madeline, see, again, read the website, Madeline. Have you been contacted? Have the Americaners contacted you? Then you don't do the new form. You're not in any back of the queue. All right, I'm going to say this again, and I realize not everybody's here every time. I'm going to say it again. Charles Van Onselen said what I already assessed but didn't say because I was holding back. But since he said it, I'm going to go ahead and say it again. He's right. This appears to be an effort by the U.S. government to make sure that nobody was missed. It also streamlines the process. It streamlines the process by getting all the information necessary to do a proper interview in advance of an interview, therefore reducing the time spent in the interview, allowing for another person to be interviewed and another person. Because this information is on hand and it's easily manipulated, moved around in a database and copied and pasted for reports and can be printed out and read by the people doing this now, they're greatly reducing. So the time it would take to interview one family may be a time they can interview 2, 3, or 4 families now. That's the reason for it. If you have not been contacted after submitting a statement of interest, not contacted, since you submitted from the 12th of May onwards, you must fill out the questionnaire. If you do not, you will be at the back of the queue. You will be forgotten about. If you filled something out for Amerikaners, it doesn't change anything. If you've already been contacted by RSC the Amerikaners, it doesn't change anything. If you have a case number, you've been contacted. It doesn't change anything. This is only for the people who are now discovering this and coming into it, and the people who've never been contacted. Please stop overcomplicating this, folks. You're making it more complicated than it is. I need Mays to give me permission, Chris. If you read the question, don't understand it, then take a deep breath, read it slower until you understand. I think people feel overwhelmed when they see all the info on the pages. Well, look, I have a hard time empathizing with that, Janine. Do you know how much information I have to see, how many forms I've had to fill out in my lifetime, especially for security clearances? Asking me what my frickin' stepfather's birth date was? I don't know. I don't care. The bastard's dead. Why would I care? Anyway, all the documents ready and complete the form in about 2 hours. That's fast, Joe. Oh, there are people. Well, that's because the media is hidden the program and people live in caves. Friend had all documents ready. Oh, your friend, not you. I'm sorry. Okay. Agree 100% with Trump. Why should America always step up to save people? Why? If you're capable of immigrating, do that instead. There are many countries you can go to. One day, Rian Pretorius, you can only apply for support. Huh? You only apply for South African passport to apply. To apply to what? 7,500 mentioned. What was not... You are correct. That's the statement, Daniel. And the estimate is that 7,000 would go to... It was a comment by a Trump administration official to the Washington Post when they leaked this story, was that 7,000 would go to South Africans of the 7,500. Gideon says yes to other people. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I mean, it's not a race-based program. I don't doubt it. I'm just saying I answer the question. I've never met anyone who is colored or Indian who's on the program. I've never met them. I've met South Africans who are white who are doing the program, but I've never met anyone else. But I've only met a handful of people in the program. So 3 days to complete the form. Wow, Varoshka, that's a while. But you got it done. Congratulations. ISP was giving problems and had to connect with mobile phone. With Afrikaner having such large German DNA, it's a bit disappointing that Germany has shown no interest in reaching out. The Germans, because they're ignorant. They don't realize there's so many Germans there because they go back all the way to the 17th century. They don't care. AdCorp Broker Consulting. I think the new form is brilliant. SADX Driving says 100%. Still don't know what he wants to debate about. Okay. Where else are we at here? Just checking. Okay. No, Daniel, you're correct. So there's no F-ups like on my case. Just do the damn form, people, if you haven't been contacted. Correct. The new form is easy to navigate with the dashboard. There you go, Deanie. Thank you. You can go to the Netherlands, Canada, Australia. Well, you can't. It's not so easy. Those places don't let South Africans in. We received an email from Amerikaners to resubmit our form, and we did receive our numbers, so we resubmitted. Okay, well, if they told you to do it, then do what they tell you. They know what they're doing. They give you the instructions, follow them. We live our lives as we did before the refugee program was announced. We did not make this our only hope. We trust in our Lord. Hey, Vanna, that's the right approach. Does this count for the church world? I don't understand, Nadine. What the hell is church world? What is church world? I made an error and I can't go back and fix it. Well, then continue the form. And then when they contact you, correct it and tell them. I mean, I don't understand. If you can't fix it, then you continue, finish the form, get it done. And then when they contact you, say, look, there was information. I incorrectly filled the wrong thing out there. Okay? Vroshka, it took me 3 days to complete the form. I already said that. Okay? Quest Computing. Where is it? Oh, he's speaking out for constant. Other destinations like United Arab Emirates and several European countries have policies or immigrant. Yeah, well, lots of money it takes to do that. Yes, they forgot about me. All the questions are stuff we already knew you would need. Okay. It's more painful applying for a passport and going home. It's more painful applying for a passport and going home affairs than filling out the questionnaire, says Janine. I'll know as soon as you land. Okay, well, you're not going to keep me in suspense. I'll lose interest very quickly. Waiting for a rescheduled call more than a week now. That's not very long, just Daner. A week. Do you think the question will be up sometime? Beekeeper's wife, that's a lovely, I like the username. It's a question I couldn't possibly answer. I didn't know this was coming. In fact, people ought to be, instead of, no one's moaning about it today. We've seen we've seen a lot of whining about this question in the last couple of days, but nobody's really whining about it today. But people should be impressed. I mean, the government is shut down. The government is not working. Yet the State Department managed to develop this questionnaire, which is information they need, and field it with a minor couple glitches, which are fixed rather quickly, very quickly. You should be more concerned about the idiocy, the stupidity of the people that are in South Africa right now, telling people, all right, you got to come to Pretoria for your appointment on Wednesday. Tuesday night at 6 p.m., email arrives. And where do they live? Geberge. Seriously? So you got to drive or come up with thousands of rand to pay for a last-minute flight to get from Port Elizabeth to Pretoria at 7:30 in the morning. That is 13.5 hours from now. I don't think you can drive that far that quickly. Assuming you don't have a flat, nothing happens. And then you get there, and they don't schedule your medical appointments, they don't schedule your follow-up interviews, and they tell you, that's it, okay, thanks. You go all the way back to Geberge. And then a day later, you get a message saying, your next appointment is in Cape Town at 7:30 tomorrow. This is happening. Repeatedly. This is absolute insanity. Somebody needs to show these morons a freaking map. This is beyond belief. If the Army ran this program, this would never happen. We would never do this to people. Our people understand geography. Our people understand how to read a map. Our people understand the constraints of time and distance and the cost of doing this. I mean, this is the people that are doing this are acting, the people processing this, or in my mind, they're acting as if, well, these are just people going on holiday, they need a visa. No, these are people who don't have the resources in many cases to go to the place you're telling them to go to, and they come there and they go at great expense, great suffering, great effort to get there, only for you to dick them over. Stop it, Washington. Get your crap together. It's unacceptable. It's wrong. It's wrong. Now, that's a real news story. One I've talked about briefly. I need to go record a video on this. But not a single South African news outlet has covered this story. Do you know why? Because they don't care. They're heartless. They don't care about your suffering. They want you to suffer. I mean, if they weren't stupid, they'd go, see, this program is all screwed up. Look at this. They make these people go here. They make these people go there. And all this money. They don't even do that. That's a good leftist news story. But they're not even running that leftist news story. Because they just don't give a crap about you. Color families with this. Yeah, there are colored Indians there too. Yep. I don't know how long the question will be up. I mean, to finish that statement, Beekeeper's wife, they're constantly changing things. I never answered your question. So they're constantly changing things. So I don't know how long it'll be up. Maybe they'll refine it again. Just, if your concern is it'll be pulled down because the program's going away, is that what you're asking without asking? Are you coming at me in a passive-aggressive way and asking a question that isn't really a question? Is your real question? I don't know that it is, but is your real question, the questionnaire will go away and the program will stop? No, that's not going to happen. There'll be another means if they change it. A few days I had to work during the day, and persecution takes a bit of thinking. It does. It does. Tuesday night persisted through a slow server. Phone on Wednesday morning confirmed the info. Well, that was quick. To me, it makes more sense to me if you're in the interview and you're asked all these questions with a new form, you have time to think about your answers. Well, I hadn't even thought about that, Crony. That's correct. So guess what? All you people are asking for advice on how do I prepare for the interview. Can you coach me? Something I don't do. No, not going to do that. That's not right. Kanye just told you the secrets to the test. Shh. Don't tell anybody. But the questionnaire are the things they're going to ask you in the interview. Shh. Don't tell anybody, okay? Just keep it between you and me. If you want to prep, fill the fucking question Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Shh. I'm going to make a short on that. Don't tell anybody. It's a secret. Shh. It's true. It's true. Oh my goodness. Point was booked. We had another email with a different location. Then we arrived at the first location, sent back. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Anti-Floyd. That's what I'm talking about. It's insane. 9 hours to get from Cape Town, Pretoria. Yeah, I know, James. It's insane. I'm trying to get the attention of the U.S. government. Interviews are being done in Cape Town. Whoa. You asked a question, you want to confirm. They are being done in Cape Town. And it's okay to ask a question. It's been asked before. We're in the habit of answering questions 1,000 times. What is that permission given? Four hours complete the form, says Multipass. Not a form guy. Even I can complete the form, says James. Okay. More in here. Rion's wife. Seems we missed you at Opiplas in Pretoria. Now you advise on most things, so how can we be more proactive on our side? Amorin? Sorry. What do you mean be more proactive? There's nothing you can do. You're at the mercy of strangers. Do you mean prepping if you're going to be approved and you come over in the program? Well, you can clean house. It's time to declutter. Get rid of crap you don't need. I've been decluttering this week. I threw out a Nokia phone box. I threw out a BlackBerry phone box. I don't have the devices anymore, or I do and they're buried somewhere. But who needs the boxes? Now, I used to keep boxes, original equipment boxes for everything because I was moving so frequently, and your things are in better condition if you put them back in the box. Remember all the parts and pieces, you put them there. So stereos and televisions and DVD players and all that stuff, always kept the original boxes. Well, I threw several boxes out. I cleaned up a bunch of old papers. I got rid of some magazines. I've been decluttering. You need to declutter your life. That's the first thing. Get rid of stuff you don't need, doesn't have any value. Then things that you have and use occasionally, start getting rid of them, selling them, make them available on Facebook Marketplace or wherever you sell things. But be careful in there. A yard sale, whatever South Africans do to get rid of things, and start getting rid of things. And get your finances in order if you have finances. Be prepared. Okay. That's what I suggest. Also, my recommendation to people that are going to take part in this program is keep it to yourself. I mean, many people are finding out the hard way that their family is abusive towards them when they talk about leaving the country. That's your call. If I were in South African shoes, I would tell nobody. I certainly wouldn't tell my employer. I wouldn't tell my family. I know of a situation where a family member ran their mouth to someone's employer because they're pissed off, and then the employer fired them. So now they don't have a job, and they're still in the country because of a spiteful family member. Yeah, a family member. That happens. And we're not talking about third cousins. We're talking about siblings. Terrible stuff. Many South Africans are overwhelmed. Mental overload makes you can't think clearly. Well, Krista, if you want to get out, you better think clearly. You have to make the right decisions. When the bullets start flying, you have to make the right decision. Left, right, down, up. Otherwise, you're dead. The form does not provide for a baccalaureate technology. I selected BSc. I don't think so. Just explain to them, and they ask you about your degree. The form doesn't have it. Your form isn't designed for South Africa. I answered as best I can. Tell them you have a bachelor's degree in technology. I assume that's what it is. I don't know what a baccalaureate technology. It looks like an associate or a bachelor's degree in technology. That's what that looks like. Is it IT? So just explain as best you can. Pick the most appropriate answer. But what you need to do is make a note. If you answer a question in a drop-down menu on the questionnaire that doesn't match exactly what your experience is or your qualifications are, make a note of what your answer was. Write it down for yourself. Or do a screen capture. That's smart too. So that when you're asked that question, you're prepared. Or you go in. I mean, look, this is what I would do. They come in, they introduce themselves. You sit down and say, "Listen, I did the questionnaire as best I could, but your questionnaire doesn't address things. May I tell you? For instance, when it asked me about my education, you don't have a baccalaureate technology there. So I picked a bachelor's of science. I don't know if that was correct. I'm not trying to mislead you. That's just I had to answer the form, and that's the only option I had." Am I making sense? Of course I am. Wife agrees with you regarding the questionnaire and how impressive it was to get it done this quick. Yeah, I agree. This form does not provide... Okay, we got that. It really is worthwhile to check your information per page you complete and save the page in the bottom right corner. Press next button for the next thing. Do not submit until you've checked. I agree. If you do end up coming to USA, would it be okay meet up with you for lunch once I've settled? Yeah, absolutely. Would love to meet you in person. Sure, Werner. Absolutely. I have no problem meeting people. I give my time to people all the time. I heard about this new form through the Colonel. You're welcome, Quest. That's cool. Colonel, I heard the new mayor of New York has promised a lot of free stuff. Already asked for money, donations, and wants to. Yep, you're correct. You're correct, Anton Mulder. 100%. People must relax. Seems interviews are now in various locations. Yep. Subject change. Chris, please. People need to think for themselves. Now you're making it worse. Have another beer, Garrett. No, it's not. No. You're wrong about that. See, you're wrong. See, I actually know that it's not just RSC. It's not just RSC. It's Americans in South Africa. It's Americans in South Africa. I can say that with 100% confidence. I can say that with 100% confidence. Persisted through slow server. Okay, got that. Okay. I understand some other people's issues. RC asked me which center will be convenient for me. Well, Herman Furry, different people ask different things. Okay. Son was in Germany for business, went to a pub and was told he can't come in because he's not white enough. What? What? Where was this? That's not helpful information, man. Where did it take place? My mom's team's interviewer could not find Port Elizabeth on the map. See? See? Oh, you guys are laughing at what I said. They now ask where your nearest office will be. Well, gee, I wonder why they're doing that, Maze. Could that be because someone, a little birdie told them? Little birdie told them? Downloaded the item and completed that to prep myself. There you go. Thought it was only a weirdo who keeps the original boxes for everything. Nope, it's well, you moved 26 times in 34 years and see how you handle things. Pikachu's not God. Pikachu's right here. In fact, he's right there. There's Pikachu. Why would I get rid of Pikachu? Pikachu is not superfluous. Pikachu is part of the team. Call an auctioneer to pick up, list the full inventory and sell for the. Yep. On the questionnaire, we were asked how soon we can leave. Does this time mean anything when we consider? People claim it does, but I will tell you that I don't believe that's the case based on what I've seen. I see a much bigger picture than individual refugee aspirants. I hear from thousands of refugee aspirants and from other sources, and I'm not convinced that it does. You should be honest when you can go. If you can't go for 6 months, then tell them. Don't tell them you can go in 3 months and then you screw everybody over by not being able to go. I still have a house to sell or leave as it is. Tell the bank. Exactly. Don't even tell the church. What church? What are you talking about? Shadows closest. Tongues would burn your world before your eyes. Oh yeah, closest. Yeah, the closest to you would burn the world before your eyes. Yep. Yeah, you pick the closest thing to your degree. Yep. Very late tonight. Good afternoon. Welcome to you. My family approves our decision. My family's wife and my chili against. See, there you go, James. That's why you shouldn't tell anybody. Dina says, of course you make sense, Colonel Chris. You're very welcome. No, you can never be what? Okay. Please save your progress regularly. Don't be like me and type out the entire statement, reach over for coffee, and hit the escape button. Ooh, that sucks, Janine. That really sucks. Got a handyman job yesterday. Older lady who was her granddaughter staying with her. Kitchen door was broken. Installed a new one. Auntie asked me, how much, Auntie? Don't worry about it. Well, that's nice of you, Richard. People seem to think that being a refugee is easy. Please remind them they cannot return to their country to visit. Yeah, you can't. It's not holiday. It's not immigration. Get that out of your mind. You're a refugee. That's not a bad thing, but you can't go back to the place you fled from. It was unsafe. I mean, think about that. You can go back in rare circumstances when something bad has happened and you get permission from the State Department, but even then it's going to be tough. The bottom line is that until you have changed your citizenship to another country, you aren't going anywhere back there. So. No, the Democrats have nothing to do with this, Roy Pike. Nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with Democrats. Nope. Even though my CEO is great, he will still only find out the day I get my confirmation date. Yep. Our address is nowhere on the map. We're in the middle of mountains. Could not give an address, so I put my son's address. There you go. There you go, Sonnenblum. That's what you do. I mean, if you live in the middle of nowhere with no postal address, no street address, you can't give one. I mean, I experienced similar things trying to put things in, So I have a voice over IP telephone, which I'm still paying like $6 a month in taxes. I don't know why I never use it. That I got from being in Africa. And it has a stateside telephone number. So I was able to have that because my credit card companies and my bank accounts demanded that I give them a telephone number. But they wouldn't let me put foreign numbers in for a U.S. bank account. Well, I'm in the military. What the hell am I supposed to do? Fortunately, voice over IP came along, and this is around the time they were switching all that, and I was able to get the phone and get the number, and I had a stateside phone number. I would pick up my phone in Botswana, and I would call the States over the internet with a U.S. number. Brilliant stuff. It was back in the early days when Skype was coming out, too, and I still have that phone. Yeah, so, I mean, you just put it as best you can, Sonnenblum, and then explain to them when you go there. Have you heard of anyone that has received flights? Some people claim they got tickets for December and January. Okay, Yannicka, I have not heard anyone tell me that. I can tell you that I know that people have flights booked. That doesn't mean they have tickets. So I'm not going to believe that story unless someone confirms that to me. And even if they have tickets, that doesn't mean jack shit. It doesn't mean jack shit. If the government shutdown doesn't end, then those flights can be canceled. Okay? So what I told someone last night in a telephone call, an American here in the States trying to help South Africans, I said, because he said, no, I've been told that people are flying on November 16th and November 18th. I said, well, they probably have reservations because they made the reservations in advance on the assumption they would be at the point that this would be settled. So if they come over by then, I'll be surprised, but not shocked. So I have not seen anyone's tickets. No one's shown me their tickets. No one's proven they have tickets. So until I see that, I'm not going to report that. I'm going to say that I believe they're being prudent and they're booking flights in advance, but those flights can be canceled. Does that make sense? Exactly. Why would you leave as refugees? Because these people aren't refugees, Pearl. They're immigrants. They are migrants. They're like the illegal aliens that come across the border, except they're doing it legally, and they're doing it through a program that wasn't intended to let them come here as economic migrants, but rather people suffering from unjust racial persecution. That's why they would want to go back. Because people, I mean, I had a guy contact me and said, well, I'm a researcher and I have all this material and I'm involved in this industry and how will the government get my pets over? Well, this isn't a refugee program for pets. We're not Noah. This isn't an ark. We're not saving the giraffes, the elephants, the lions, your dogs, your cats, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! It's not a refugee program for. We're not Moses. Not Moses. Excuse me. We're not Noah. There's no ark here. Sorry. That's the first problem. Second problem is that we're not going to get your research material over here. You're going to get 2 bags of 23 kg, done and dusted. Put your life inside that. If you've got money, pay for excess baggage. That's how it works. And then he talking about, well, I need to be back here 4 times a year. You need to be back in South Africa 4 times a year? You don't understand what the term refugee means. Now, I'm not insulting this person. I haven't mentioned who they are because I politely responded to them, but that's absolutely insane to me. Do you know what a refugee is? Obviously not. Obviously not. A refugee is a person who flees a place because it's unsafe. You don't go back to the place it's unsafe to go to because you flee. By doing so, you admit that you fraudulently got in the program because you weren't in any jeopardy. Why are you going back to the place that your life was in jeopardy? Apparently it wasn't in jeopardy. It's safe enough for you to go back. And 4 times a year to do business? This is not an immigration program. Contact Malta. Contact the Grand Cayman. Contact Trinidad and Tobago. Go there. They'll give you citizenship. Only the Haitians will take you to there. Eating the dogs or eating the cats. Yes. Yeah, it is heartbreaking for Roshka, but hey, do what you got to do. It will be fine for Roshka. Another video in American history. I'm not sure. Jeffreys Bay. Well, Jeffreys Bay is relatively safe. But that was where that white couple was assaulted in the morning by the guy. Beat them. Remember that? Hey, Gail. The guy in the orientation session told the RC agent that he can't go until he has sold his farm and cattle. He told her he will let them know when to book his ticket. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, this is obviously someone that doesn't need to go. Most stressful thing I've done in my life, from retired to starting over. You don't need files, just facts. What's the most stressful thing, becoming a refugee or filling out the form? Power's going off. Sorry to hear that. May's got help from Alana. Okay, good. Totally relate, but in my case, anyone's received flights. Yeah, okay, Yanika, that's what I just addressed. Okay, I love your cherry blossom. That's lovely. Alrighty, folks, that wasn't meant to be a refugee conversation, but of course it turned into that as the day went on. I hope we've answered your questions. I'm going to go make a short about the questionnaire. Okay. My family hate me, but my grandson, kids, and I are going. Bon Jovi, it's my life. It's my life. You're right. I like that, Joey, from like It's My Life. Yes. What did Hendo say? Rugby tomorrow. That's right, folks, tomorrow. You can tune in for USA, Georgia early, and then the next one is Belgium and Namibia, the Velvetias, and finally the nightcap is the Springboks and Les Bleus of France. You guys take care. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. Thank you for the Super Chat revenue that came in. For the new members who joined us, thank you so much for that. I hope I answered all the questions. I think I left one thing hanging out there from Chris Ehlers. I didn't quite see the response. It's from whoever I was supposed to give the number to him from. But whoever wants me to give the number, please contact me so I can get it to him, okay? Or vice versa, whichever that is. Y'all take care. Thanks. I'll catch you later if there's a new breaking news on something. Otherwise, you see you late tonight for Night Owls. Ciao.